Hi guys, I'm Kunal and welcome to the showcase class of how to sketch supercars. Now, if you're someone who's really enthusiastic about such cars and who likes to draw and wants to pen your imagination down onto paper, well, this is just the right place. In here, I'll teach you how to pen your imagination down onto paper and be able to sketch cars in a realistic and a credible proportions through execution of sketches in a correct way. Now, in order to be able to sketch like this, we'll have to start off with the basics, that is our fundamentals. And what are our fundamentals? Lines. Now, lines form a basic entity of every sketch. The approach that we'll take to sketch these lines is something like this. So, we usually take the 0, 10, 0 rule, wherein you sketch a line in a very dynamic way. This a straight line. We'll need to learn how to sketch lines in a very confident way, because there's also another way to draw lines, but it's this or probably this. But you see, this is very static, wherein this is very dynamic. So this is the approach we'll use. I'll teach you a lot more on this in the course. Then again, lines, but in a vertical orientation, so that you are able to draw it in any orientation. Circles. Now, circles form a very important part of the sketch because they will form our wheels. So we will learn how to sketch just the exact perfect circle. Ellipses. Now, ellipses. Now let's say I have a sketch in a side view wherein the wheels are defined by circles. Okay, so let's say this is my side view and these are the wheels. Now what happens in a perspective is so you see, this is a perspective view, and you see the wheels, they are ellipses, there are no more circles. So that is the reason we learn how to sketch with ellipses. So these exercises here will let you make just the perfect ellipses. Then we'll go on to some exercises of perspective. For example, the 1-point perspective, wherein there is one vanishing point, and we'll be making simple shapes like cubes and cylinders, wherein the vertical lines, now in 1-point perspective, the vertical lines remain vertical, horizontal lines remain horizontal, and the other lines just follow the vanishing point. So you'll see that in all the cases. Horizontal lines horizontal, vertical lines remain vertical. 2-point perspective, wherein we have 1 and 2 vanishing points. Again here, the vertical lines remain vertical, but the horizontal lines are no more horizontal, but they follow the vanishing points of the respective side. So let's say this is a vertical line. All the lines on the right side of it will follow this point, and all the lines on the left side of it will follow this point. Now once we are done with our perspective, we'll learn about proportions. Now what are proportions? Proportions are defined as the relationship of the shapes concerned with the scale and size of the design. Now what does that mean? Is, let's say for example, let's say I have a box wherein I define the package of the vehicle. I say, okay, this is the space wherein I want my vehicle to fit in. So I'll define the vehicle first by the wheels. Let's say these are my wheels. Now this, the distance between the two wheels is called the wheelbase. And how do we define it? So let's say I make the front wheel here, I'll make another wheel, another one, third one, and okay, here comes the rear wheel. So this is the proportion, that is the wheelbase of the vehicle is 3 wheels in our case. And for the rear overhang, this is called the rear overhang, this part, and this is the front overhang. So in this case we have 3 wheels as the wheelbase, and the rear overhang is defined by half a wheel, while the front overhang is almost 1 full wheel. So this is how we'll define the proportions of a vehicle. And there are various other factors that actually affect the proportions. For example, the position of the A pillars. This is the A pillar. The height of the hood from the front wheel. The height of the roof. So there are various such factors which we'll be learning, and so what define the proportions of a sports car, because proportions, guys, are very important in any vehicle, because that is what will define your vehicle from another segment. So we'll really focus a lot on these. Now once we know our proportions, now we'll do some simple exercises based on the proportions that we learned. So what we do is, through the method of deconstruction, we'll break down the complex shape of a sports car into simpler shapes. So for the starting, let's say we have a roof here, we have the cabin, this is the greenhouse. We'll break it down into just a simple triangle, and the body of the vehicle should be a simple rectangle with wheels as circles. So what this will do is, it will help us understand the volumes and the shapes in a correct way and in a simpler way. And the same thing shall be carried on to a 3D 3/4 perspective view. Now once we are done with that, what we do is, we'll start adding more details, like the front fender haunch, the base. We'll add more details like the air intakes, the lights, the shadows, the shading, contrast. We'll define more the greenhouse of the vehicle. So we'll really concentrate a lot on the side view after this, because a side view is really important in car design, as it defines almost the 90% of your vehicle. So we'll really focus a lot on the side view. It is very important to get the side view correct. And once we are done with this, it'll be easier for us to translate the same view. So we take this view, we'll translate it into a 3/4 perspective, front and rear. And we'll ensure that the same vehicle, the vehicle that we designed in the side view, remains the same even in the perspective views. So this is pretty much, guys. Should you be interested in the course, please let us know. We'd love to have you on board, and thank you so much. Looking forward.